Hi, welcome everybody to our town hall meeting today on Suboxone. I'm Bill Ross. I'm one of the attorneys that is working on the Suboxone cases. A few little things before we started, and again, I'm glad you're all here today. We have a very large number here, and I hope you will enjoy this presentation. But we're going to have time at the end for some questions and answers. There'll be a little box, chat room or question and answer box where you can drop your questions in. Please listen to the presentation. A lot of what you are thinking about asking about will probably be answered. Okay. But again, we're going to reserve time at the end to go ahead and answer your questions. I wanted to explain a little bit about our firm, Henniger Garrison Davis. We are a national firm. We're based in Alabama, but we work with firms and clients all over the country. We have 17 attorneys here in our office, at least 28 support staff, some of which are on this video right now. Over the years, we've handled cases in every state for people in every state, and we've been fortunate enough, and with a lot of hard work on our part and our clients' part, to recover over $3 billion in settlements for those people. I put this slide up just because some of you are used to other firms maybe looking at your Suboxone case. You may be familiar with the name Science and Kirk or Johnny Adams or Ferrer Perot or Sokolow Law. A lot of times in this business, people start out with another firm and they refer them to firms like ours that work on the cases. We're your primary attorney working on these cases now. If you have specific questions about your case, it'd be great just to reach out directly to us rather to these other firms. They'll still get the message to us, but it's quicker if you do it that way. Sometimes you're a little leery. I know it sounds weird, but in this what I call the mass tort business, it's often how things are done, and cases go from one firm to the other. But if you're hesitant, and I can understand that, then you can call those other firms or email them and get clarification just to be sure we're all on the same page. I would like to introduce your team. Can't do this alone. There's a lot of work in these cases, and we have a very talented team here and a lot of others that aren't with us today on the presentation. But I mentioned I'm Bill. I'm one of the attorneys that will be working on these cases. Again, we're here in Alabama, but we, if we need to ever associate any attorneys anywhere else in the country, we do that as well. Lily's here. She is working hard on a lot of these cases. She's probably talked with you. Lily, do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, hey y'all, I'm Lily. I'm one of the paralegals working on this case, and I'll be your primary point of contact. So I'm excited to get to know all of you through this process. And if you ever have any questions about anything, you can call or text or email me, and those are good ways to reach me. So thank you.
Thanks, Lily. And yeah, I'm sure, like Lily said, reach out to her whenever you have questions. I know it can be frustrating. It's a long process, and you'll form a good relationship with Lily and others working on the case over the coming months. Noah's another paralegal working on these cases, and he may have something to offer as well.
Yeah, hello everyone. So you may not have heard from me yet, but there is a very high possibility that you will hear from me at some point in the future. We all like to tackle problems together. So you may see my name, and if you ever have any questions and Lily's not available, please reach out and I will be glad to help.
Thanks, Noah. Luke's another paralegal you'll communicate with over the time that we have your case.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Luke. So happy to have you as a client. And I've primarily been working on the intake portion of this case, but imagine I'll have some more work to do in the future. And I want to echo what Noah said. If you ever have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. If you can't get Lily, and we're so happy to have you as a client.
Thanks, Luke. Got a couple other. Catherine. Catherine is our client coordinator, a very important position. She helps get you to this point. She's done a lot behind the scenes on our town halls, and she'll say a few words, and she's going to share some other exciting news with you in just a few minutes.
Yes. So like Bill said, I'm the client coordinator, and I'm here to just kind of help make the process easier for you. I know it can be intimidating, and my job is to make it as easy and comfortable as possible. So later on, I'll be diving into the client portal, which I think will be a really helpful tool on this journey. So I'll show you all that in a bit.
Appreciate it. And last but not least, we have Zaina. Zaina is our firm administrator. She basically keeps everything running smooth in our daily operations here in the firm. So Zaina.
Yeah, hello guys. I'm Zaina, and on behalf of Henniker Garrison Davis, I just want to personally thank each of you for joining us today. We know that you have choices when you select a law firm and a group of attorneys and paralegals to work with, and we want to let you know that we appreciate the trust you've placed in our firm. And I just want to let everyone know we're fully committed to taking great care of you throughout this process. In addition to the team, you can always reach out to me as well if you have any questions or concerns. So we look forward to getting to know each of you and taking good care of your case.
Thanks, Zaina. And again, I appreciate everybody jumping on here. You'll recognize some of these names over the months to come as we work on your case. I want to talk briefly about Suboxone and about the Suboxone case. This medication was developed as a result of the what I call the opioid and what many people call the opioid epidemic. These medications are commonly prescribed for pain, maybe too commonly after certain surgical procedures, chronic painful conditions, and things like that. And unfortunately, these medications are very, very addictive. A few brief numbers in 2021. Over 2.5 million people in the U.S. Received treatment for some type of opioid use disorder. It's just very scary to me. In 22, we had over 81,000 people that unfortunately passed away from an overdose related to opioids. And there've been, closing in on 1 million individuals that have passed away since the beginning of what I call, again, the epidemic. It breaks down to maybe 220 or more or deaths a day. So it's a very, 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 very serious health condition and epidemic. They've tried a lot of different medications and treatments over the years, but Suboxone was developed to help deal with this addiction. It contains two sort of products or components, if you will. One is the buprenorphine, excuse me, that's a hard word to say, and it sort of works to block out the pain signals. It's also combined with naloxone, which blocks out the opioid effect. So it's sort of a balancing effect, but it works as well by reducing symptoms and cravings that might be associated with individuals that are on some of these medications for pain. That's in a very brief sort of way how it works. It's a lot more complicated than that, of course, but and what's distinguishing this from some other products is that it's available in both a pill and a film. Okay, we're looking at cases where individuals use the film. Okay, it doesn't mean if you've used or used the pill in addition to the film, then that's a case that we will look at. If you're only using the pill, though, it's not a case that we're looking at, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But the film came out. Manufactured by a company called Indivior, a pretty large company, came out back in 2010. There was no competitors until about 8 or 9 years later. And just some stats, the number of individuals being prescribed and using a film has grown by several million over the past few years. My next slide points out why a dissolvable film. What makes it makes it better than a pill format. The pills are meant to be placed under the tongue and ingested that way as well. But this film, it goes under the tongue and dissolves. What I hear about the pill is a lot of people it's a very bitter taste. You're tempted to chew it or swallow it rather than just let it dissolve under the tongue, which may take a little while. You have to avoid certain foods and things after you take it that way too. But the film's much easier to allow the dosing. If you swallow the pills, the acids in your stomach can interfere with it. Okay, and also if you were to swallow them, you can end up with symptoms that are associated with opioid use, which could be constipation and migraines. So what's the issue here? Several years ago, a number of studies came out, and relating the use of this film product, the Suboxone film, to serious dental erosion and tooth decay. People were losing their teeth, having to have oral surgery, abscesses, a lot of oral conditions, out of the ordinary. The drug works as sort of a side effect by changing the acidity in your mouth, and that is what causes the tooth loss, the decay, and the fractures. The more you use the product, the higher the risk. And again, I mentioned there's a number now of studies out there that link the long-term use of Suboxone with serious dental injuries. There are some other things that we do have to consider and take into account when we evaluate cases, just like we do with any type of case out there. Unfortunately, other opioids such as methamphetamines, cocaine, and heroin are also linked to serious dental issues. So that presents a factor that's very, very hard to overcome. We have to look at each case on an individual basis, and we have to take that into account. But they're very tough, a tough factor to overcome when we're looking at the cases. So we're focusing on our efforts on long-term use of the Suboxone film. And again, you could use pills in conjunction. And again, serious dental injuries. There's a range. Most of our clients, as Lily and Noah and Luke can tell you, have lost many teeth. They've had to undergo numerous procedures, oral surgery, and dental procedures, and they have very, very large out-of-pocket costs. A lot of this treatment's very, very expensive, and a lot of people, unfortunately, can't afford the cost of that. So it's a very devastating. Some people think, "What, you lost some teeth?" It's very devastating. You're not able to communicate maybe as effectively. It's very embarrassing, disfiguring. We've heard stories from many of our clients about how it has impacted their lives and their conditions. So a lot of things we take into account as we look over these cases. We're in the early process of the cases. The litigation is in early stages and moving along. It takes a while. I'll be honest with you. I can't pull up a crystal ball and tell you how soon cases might settle and what they would settle for, but we've got to work up your case. And to do that, we have to get certain types of records on your behalf. And I know a lot of our clients, Lily and others can attest, have been good about sending us records. If you already have some records, it's a great help to us because you can usually get records easier and quicker than we can. We'll get them, and we'll need to get records from pharmacies showing where the products were actually filled, the doctors or clinics that prescribe the records, and then of course your dental and oral surgery records that showed how you were treated. And again, one of our roles is to help get all the records. And once we get them in, we have to evaluate them all. See if you meet ultimately the criteria for filing a case. Talking about filing a case, what's going on with the case, the litigation status. Again, it's a fairly new case. The cases are a lot of the cases are combined. You're still an individual case, but you may be combined before one judge. It's very common in this type of business, and that's called a multi-district litigation. These cases, for the most part, when they're filed, are centralized or moved before one federal judge who's actually up in Ohio. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that, well, I don't live in Ohio. It doesn't matter. The cases are transferred in from all over the country. And the purpose of this MDL, if you will, is to try to consolidate and move things along in a more effective manner, hopefully get to a resolution more quickly with everything being focused in one place. Usually in these MDLs, they try some cases and hopefully come to a mechanism to settle others. It's not a class action. Your case stands on its own merits, on its own feet, if you will. Doesn't mean to say that at the end of the day, there won't be some global type of resolution where, all the cases would be settled. But again, there would be specific criteria that would be applied evenly to every person to arrive at a settlement value. Again, we're very early in the process, but that's sort of, what you could see as goes along. We're not suing anybody but the makers of the drug. People ask, what about my doctor? What about my dentist? What about the clinic I attend? Things like that. No, they're not at issue here. The bad boy, if you will, is the manufacturer of the product that didn't put adequate warnings on the product. And I failed to mention this earlier. They actually did add a warning in mid to late 2022. Okay. Most everybody we've talked with have been using the product well before then. Okay. Now we may have issues, of course, with people that have just used it short term after that date, but most everybody that we look at and talk with has been using it for a longer period of time. As the cases progress, I put up here a word called discovery. That means both sides discover what the other side might have known. And in the case of our clients, the defendants would have a right to discover about your case, why you were on opioids, how long you were on them, what problems did you have, and things like that. A lot of that gets answered, at least in an MDL and something in a generic format that everybody fills out called a fact sheet. So that's a bunch of questions they ask you, a lot more than our intake form, which I appreciate y'all completing for us. But as we move in the process, we of course would help you with that. So again, summarizing briefly, and I thank y'all for this graphic, whoever put that together. Make sure we have records that we need. We may ask you to help on some of that. We may need some more signatures on certain things. Sometimes these providers are real picky concerning what we ask for and the document we use to ask for those records. So we may need help with that. Stay in touch with us. We'll try to stay in touch with you. Catherine will go over in a minute a great new tool that we have. Again, I mentioned the fact sheet. There may be other forms to fill out, and we'll try to keep you updated. But you may have questions specific to your case that we'll be able to answer for you if you call or text or email, which is whatever is most convenient for you. And a brief comment, I should have mentioned this earlier on the Q&A questions you might have. If it's a question specific to your individual case, we'll recognize that and we'll answer you individually offline. Okay, we don't want to violate any type of privacy that you specifically might have. But a lot of the questions are general, and I appreciate all those coming in. It looks like from people from all over the place. So again, thank you for that. I do want to now turn the presentation over to Catherine. And Catherine, I think, do you want to share your screen?
Yes, that'll be perfect.
Okay, I'm going to stop mine and let you take over.
Perfect. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay, share. Okay, can y'all see this intake page? Yes. Okay. So, like I said earlier, my name's Catherine Davis, and I'm the client coordinator here. And my job is to just, like I said, make this as easy and as comfortable for you as possible. For a lot of you, if not most of you, this is probably your first lawsuit or your first mass tort case. And what I think really makes our firm stand out above the rest and what makes me so proud to work here is we have a client portal. Now, we have not launched this to all our Suboxone clients yet. We are planning to do that sometime next week. So I'll show you in a minute what that welcome text looks like, what to do, how to get registered, and all that in a minute. But first, I want to go over what all this client portal does, how you can use it, and how it will keep you informed on the case and also keep you in touch with your paralegals, Luke, Lily, and Noah. So, like I said, I'll go over how you can get registered and how you can log on to your portal in a minute. But when you log in, it's going to take you to most likely this page. It takes you to the phase of your case that it's currently on. For a lot of you, that's going to be intake, which means we've received your contract, we've received maybe the referring attorney's documents, but we still want our documents from you, or maybe you've already filled that out. Anyway, this is just a quick video going over what the intake phase is. It also explains it in text here. And then down at the bottom, there's an FAQ section. So what do you need me to do? You can just hit this little plus button and it will kind of answer that stuff for you. So definitely always check the FAQ sections. And if your question is not answered there, definitely reach out to us to get that answered. So how do you message Lily? How do you message your paralegal team? That's a great question. To make it easier, you just click this little text button up here. And this is my test account. So ignore all the garbage messages, but you can just say, did you get my intake documents? And hit send. It's like a normal text. Lily will get that and Lily will answer you as soon as possible. And it will come to a phone number. Again, I'll show you all that in a minute, but you can just text us. It's literally that easy. No need to call us. No need to, play phone tag or email us multiple times. I really suggest doing this. It's what's easier than a text, So that's how you can get in touch with us. Going back to this, again, this is probably where your case is at. You can click ahead to see what the next phases are. They are grayed out because you're not in that phase yet. Your current phase is going to be in black and bold, and it'll have this arrow at the top. So you'll know it also says current phase. So again, you can skip ahead to see what's to come, but it's always going to take you to this main page. Now, two other things I want to mention is if you go back to where it has these little checked boxes, there are two other really important pages. So this first page is kind of a general FAQ page. Like I said, for most of y'all, not all of y'all, this is probably your first lawsuit. This answers a lot of questions like, how do mass tort cases work? When will I get my settlement? When will I hear from you next? And just click these little plus buttons to see the answers. Some of them have videos, some of them have text. Highly recommend watching the videos. We can go into a little bit more depth. But yeah, definitely check out the general FAQ section for all that, because if I didn't work here, I wouldn't know these things. So if I was a client, this is something I'd really want, which is why I'm glad we have this. The other page I want to talk about is the updates page. So we do want to keep you updated on your case. As soon as updates come in, all updates will be put on this page. Our most recent update is this February 18th one. We have it here. How will you know that there's an update on your case? As soon as it's posted to this updates page, you will receive a text from us saying there has been a general update on your Suboxone case. Please click the updates tab, and it will also have a link to your client portal. So you can click that link. Again, it'll bring you to the main page. Just click back here to see the updates page. You'll see the most recent date and the most recent update. So you'll know all the updates on your case. Okay. Let me see. So yeah, that's kind of an in-depth tutorial. And like I said, if none of these pages, none of these FAQs are answering your questions, just click this little text button and shoot us a quick text so that we can get any questions or concerns taken care of. So yes, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and Bill, if you could pull up the original PowerPoint so I can show them the text they'll get and kind of some other stuff.
Sure, 1 second. Tell me if you see it there, and I'll back it up.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, back it up to perfect. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, so all of this is on an app. The client portal is hosted on the Hona app. So whether you have an iPhone or an Android, you can download this app. I wish I could show you the app version. It's very similar to what I just showed you, just on your iPhone. It's super helpful. And like I said, you're going to get texts just sent straight to there. So definitely download that app. Can you go to the next page? So like I said, we have not launched the app yet for our Suboxone clients. We're working on that. We are planning it for it to be ready next week. So hopefully by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, you should receive a text from this number this 475-0273 number. It'll say Henniger Garrison Davis, that's us, made an update on your project. Please check the status. Or it'll say your case has been moved to the next phase. It'll say something to this effect. You'll just click that link. It'll have you register with your phone number or email. And after that, you're in. Download the app, like I said, and it's pretty straightforward from there. Go to the next slide, Bill. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I explained the update page. You'll be able to see it there. And yeah, go to the next page. There was something I was going to say and I forgot. Forgot what I was going to say.
I really think there's a lot of work in this app, and it's a great tool. It reminds me of going to your physician. A lot of times they have the patient portal, so it's very, very similar. Our clients in some of our other cases really do enjoy and appreciate this, and just take some logistics to get it rolled out to everybody. So, and it's a great program, but there's still a lot of kinks we're working out in it. So, you may have some suggestions too, and we'll see what we can incorporate. I do want to touch briefly on paperwork. Like anything else, we have paperwork. When most of y'all got to us, you would have come from another firm that may have asked some basic questions on an intake. Some firms ask a lot more than others, so we usually need a little bit more information. So you will get a copy of a form from us, an intake form. It will give us a little bit more information. And it's very important that you complete this and get it back to us. We really can't start doing any substantive work until we get this information. It's going to ask about your doctors, your dentists, your pharmacies, your history, things like that. And we can't really gather up records and begin until we get all that back. And I know I've seen some questions flash by about medical records. We do have to have your permission to obtain the records. Any records we get are held in confidence. They're here. We look at them here. And at some point, the defendants may be entitled to look at them. Again, they're held in confidence there as well. But you may get this is a high-tech form. You may get a HIPAA form. They all look a little bit differently. But the bottom line is you give us permission to order the medical records on your behalf. Okay. And we have to have we can't order them without that, but we do have to have your signature on the document to get that done. So at this point, we're moving along well. I do want to, and I've seen a bunch of questions come by, and I appreciate. I've seen Luke and Lily and Noah typing furiously and answer some questions offline. Explain that that these are questions that we need to offer offline to you. But I do have some questions that I see coming up, and they're great questions. I appreciate that, and it probably will apply to a lot of y'all out there. And several of y'all have asked, can we still be using Suboxone? And that's a great question. It is such a, opioid dependency is such a serious medical condition, and we never interfere in your medical care. There's not a whole lot of different things out there. So yes, I mean, we have a lot of clients that are still using the Suboxone, and it's very helpful. It's a very effective drug, from what I understand, and I think we all know somebody, relative, friend, somebody we work with that has, an opioid dependency of some type, and anything that they can do in treatment to, get help with that is commendable. So yeah, the bottom line is I'm not telling anybody to stop taking Suboxone. Period. Okay. Somebody else has asked, I'm not sure exactly when I started taking it. It may have been later, 2002. I can tell you the label change came out about June of 2022. And a lot of times it takes a little while to get the information disseminated. So that's sort of an initial sort of start date, if you will, that we're looking at as we look at and evaluate the questions there. How long is it going to take? I wish I could tell you. What I tell people a lot of times is, and it's not comparing apples to apples, that each case is different. But I've done what I call mass tort cases for many years. And the quickest one we ever worked on was a pharmaceutical case with a number of people that took, it was 3 years, and the longest was a case with a number of people that took 15 years. So, I don't want to scare you, but I'm just saying that to say it could take a little while. Okay. your patience is appreciated throughout the process. It can be frustrating. We know that, but there's a lot of things go on when there's thousands of people involved in the litigation against a very big, powerful, as pharmaceutical company. So, just know that we're working hard for you, but it's going to take some time. Somebody asked what injuries specifically, significant tooth loss, oral surgery procedures are the primary things that we're looking at. And, we understand these are very, very, serious conditions. I myself, I've had dental work, nothing major, and I can't comprehend what some of our clients are going through, losing a number of teeth or losing all their teeth. So, these injuries are significant, and we don't take any of this lightly. Somebody's asking, has everyone on this webinar been accepted in the mass tort? Good question. And I've seen some people probably got an email from a friend that aren't even clients, asking how they can join. And of course, you may have friends, family members, neighbors, others that might have similar problems. I hope you'll let them know to reach out and contact our firm. We'll have our information up before we jump off. But most everybody on here we have what's called a signed packet. In other words, you have retained the firm that sent your case to us, then as well as our firm, to look at your case. We're in the process of evaluating a large number of individuals and deciding if it's something we can move forward with or not. A lot of times we can tell on the front end if it's something we can move forward, with or not. But we do need the paperwork back that I showed you earlier to come to a good decision on that. And even then, as we move forward, we might say, yes, right now you look like a good case, but as we get records in or as things develop, it may not be. We'll let you know as soon as we know at that point. But yeah, right now, unless you've heard from us, you're a case that we're looking at. And so, just keep in mind, it may take a little while to go through the stages. Sometimes it takes a while to get all the records in. I know Luke and Lily and Noah can tell you, some people are very quick to return them and some providers aren't. So, that has to be taken into account. Yeah, good question. What if the doctors aren't in practice anymore? That can be an issue. I realize that we've seen that in many cases that we work on. A lot of times a practice is taken over by somebody else, so that there might be that availability. There may be records that are, within maybe other types of records, hospital records, reference in some other doctor's records. There may be pharmacy records that maybe show a doctor that maybe isn't directly connected, but may have some information. So I won't rule that out. Sometimes, though, we've been in cases where we just can't get any records, and it's very difficult then, to proceed, of course, with the case where we have to show certain things. We got to show use of a product and then injury from that product, and here that would be, dental loss and things like that. Somebody asked, what if you've been on the film for a while and then switched to the pills? Well, if you use the film long term, for some period of time, is there a magic length of time? No. Again, we like to see long-term use. It could be many months to, of course, in a number of people, it could be years. But yeah, it's possible people were using the film and then were switched. The damage is done. You probably had obvious dental erosion and decay when you were on the film itself. So that is something we will look at. Somebody asked, when could I expect a payout settlement? Another good question. And again, I can't tell you when. We like the cases. We think that the company has committed terrible wrongs in what they did. We usually see that in a lot of these pharmaceutical or medical device cases that we do. But they're going to fight this. They're going to fight this as hard as they can. They're making billions of dollars a year off this medication. And, we think that these cases will settle and resolve at some time. There's always the likelihood they don't. I don't want to paint that picture, but, sometimes these cases don't go the way that we believe they will, but we think this is a very good case to work on. And I can't tell you when it would come, and I can't tell you how much you'd get. I know that's a question. I haven't seen it pop up yet, but I bet it will. We definitely think it's worth your while and our hard work to work on these cases. We select our cases that we work on. We're very selective in what we do. We don't want to waste our time and efforts or our clients' time and efforts if we don't think they're going to settle. Somebody asked if there is a settlement and they're getting done with work now, would that also be covered? I'm not sure exactly what that means, but once a settlement is made, like in any type thing, if you're in a car wreck and you get a settlement for somebody that may have injured you, you sign a release and you release any future rights, anything else. So generally, when a settlement is reached and funds are paid, then your settlement is done, and you won't receive any future earnings or benefits, if you will. What can you do to help this go faster? That's a good one. I bet Lily and Luke and Noah could answer. Help us when we need help. If you're able to get any records, get them into us. Noah, Luke, or Lily, I don't know if y'all want to respond. What's the best way to get records to you?
Email is preferable.
I also want to add that in the client portal I just mentioned, you can upload your medical records there and send them. So that's an option as well.
Okay, good. Yeah. So anybody can get them to us. And a lot of you have already sent records. We appreciate that. And hey, don't feel like you got to pick through the records. Send us everything. We'd rather have too much than not enough. I know I saw Lily the other day with a probably 3-inch stack of records somebody had sent in. I forget the name of the client, but thank you very much. Again, we'd rather have too many than too little. You don't have to pick through them and decide what might or not be useful. We'd rather have too much than not enough. And if you need, if you send them in and they're originals, we'll be happy to get them back to you. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Good question. Will you have to go to court? A lot of people, it's a lot of sensitive personal information, and they don't want to go down the road and actually have to end up in trial. I will say that 99.9% of everybody in the Suboxone litigation, if things go as they usually do through an MDL, will not have to go to court. Okay. There will be what's called initial or bellwether trials that will be selected and worked up. And that's still a good ways off, but your likelihood of having to go to trial and actually do that would be very, very, very slim. If at some point you get to that point, you don't want to proceed and go to trial, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I hate for you to drop out at an early stage like this, thinking that you might have to go to trial. Now, having said all that, it is litigation, and it is involving a claim against a big company. So there's always the possibility that you could go to trial. So we don't take this lightly. We don't, and of course neither should any of our clients. Let's see, let me scroll down. Trying to hit all the questions we have. If I'm missing it, y'all let me know. Good question there. What if I want to talk to my attorney? Right now I'm working on it. We have other attorneys too that are just not able to be with us today. You can usually talk with us. I tell my clients, if you call and leave a message, if I don't get back with you in 24 to 48 hours, something's up, so call again. But we do pride ourselves on that. Many firms out there, you call and it's very, very difficult to actually speak with an attorney. And we do what I think is a very, very good job here. And I think our clients would tell you the same. Good question. Have the makers of Suboxone made any attempts at settling? None that I'm aware of. A lot of times the defendants will make attempts at settling. This is a big company. They have a lot of money. They usually put aside money that handle litigation expenses and things like that. But none, to my knowledge, have been made at this time. will it happen as a global type settlement? Again, too early to know. A lot of times these things, end up as a global settlement. It's not a class action again, but each case would, be settled in a very large group. All right. That may be all the oh, somebody asked if a good question here, and not directly related, and I've seen this from a few people. If you were prescribed Suboxone, opioid dependency is a terrible condition. The question is, what if I was prescribed Suboxone and it didn't work? I ended up with reverting to a dependency on opioids or something. Well, that's not a case that we have here. And I'm sorry if that happens, because it does happen. The drug is not 100% effective, just like any medication is not 100% effective. There's tons of other things that could be tried. And, again, my heart goes out to you if that's happened and you're back on a dependency. But yeah, it's not a case that we're pursuing against the makers. All right, I think that's all the questions, unless Noah, Luke, or Lily, y'all see anything I missed? Feel free to shout it out now.
I do want to say something real quick. This is what I forgot earlier. I know we've covered a lot in the past 40 minutes, from Suboxone to the client portal to everything Bill just answered. This has all been recorded and it will be posted in your client portal. So at any point you want to review what we talked about or what we said, you can definitely rewatch it there. Like I said, that should be launched to y'all sometime next week. So just keep an eye on your texts.
Thanks, good point. I do want to, before we close, I just want to take just a minute again to let you know we're here for you. Without our clients, we're not in business. So we try to do our best with y'all. There may be times where maybe you don't agree with something or not as happy as you want to be. Let us know. We'll try to do better. But we work on a lot of different cases. I know. I don't want to forget, so I'll pop it in here. It's important if you keep your information updated with us, and I'm talking about contact information primarily. Your address, your phone, your email. Give us as many phone numbers or emails so we can always reach you. We may go a long time without direct communications, but then we might need you immediately. So, you might have forgotten. Oh, I forgot to let my, let our attorneys and the people who help me on my case know when I move. So please do that if you will. Also, if you're happy, we always enjoy Google reviews. 5-star reviews are what we're after. That helps our firm. I know Zaina and the team are very appreciative of those. They help us in what all we do, just like in any other type of business. But here, I'll run down quickly some other cases. Again, we're looking at social media and video gaming addiction. I'll try to be brief on these, but there's another epidemic of our young children and minors who are being subjected to all the different social media platforms and all these video games. These companies are smart. They designed these games and platforms to hook our children and us probably, but we're looking specifically at children. So you may know somebody who uses these platforms and these games a lot and have mental health conditions, depression, anxiety. There are actually orthopedic conditions associated with the gaming addictions, with hands and arms and things like that, which I had no idea about until more recently. We are looking at the Uber Lyft litigation. There's a lot of individuals, unfortunately, these are trusting companies, but a lot of the drivers, are sexually assaulting the riders in a variety of different ways. We've learned the companies did very little to screen out or to go put these people through a screening process, like taxi cab companies may do. So that's another source of serious litigation. Depo-Provera is a injectable contraceptive that's been around for many years. Unfortunately, a number of women have developed a certain type of brain tumor after they've had at least of a year use of that product. Hair relaxers. A lot of people use the hair relaxer products. They've been associated with certain types of gynecological cancers. What I put up here is the weight loss drugs. Ozempic, Mounjaro, Trulicity, those drugs have been associated with very serious intestinal bowel issues. So we're looking at those. We're looking at Tylenol use in pregnant women in the later trimesters, second and third trimester, and children born with autism. A rare heart pump device has caused serious cardiac perforations and injuries requiring emergency surgery. That's pretty rare. The PFAS and AFFF, the firefighting foam, and what's called forever chemicals are linked with very rare cancers of the kidney and the testicular cancer and certain bowel conditions. So we are as well looking at those. I won't go over everything in detail here, but I also want to put up some other things that are not what I call mass tort cases. We are a personal injury firm, so we do handle, of course, what I call motor vehicle or car wreck or trucking accidents. We have people that are licensed throughout many of the states, and if not, we have attorneys we work with throughout the country. So, you might not know who to call. You might be in Kentucky or in North Dakota. Give us a call. If we can't help you on a particular mass tort or personal injury case, we can find somebody that will. Again, we do a lot of sexual abuse cases, nursing home abuse, the whole range of personal injury cases. So, if you have questions, I hope you would reach out to us and ask us about other types of cases. And, we're here to help you on those as well. I think that's all I have. Oh, yeah, I know I touched on the fact earlier that there are certain drugs that have a very high rate of dental decay as well. Specifically, I mentioned methamphetamine use, heroin, and cocaine use. We look at those individually, but if you're a long-term user of that and still using those, then that's very, very tough to overcome. And before I do go, I've been reminded, thank you very much, that I do have a couple other slides. One is social media. Again, we appreciate you following us. Zaina or Catherine, y'all are probably better qualified to talk about social media and how they can help us in that regard.
Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead, Catherine.
Oh, sorry. No, you talk about it, Zaina.
We would love to have you follow us. We are on Facebook, Instagram Business, and also LinkedIn. We have a YouTube channel. Please give us a follow, and you can see not only updates on your cases, as you can follow along what we're posting in social media, but also just more about us as a firm and about our culture too, and get to know the people that are working for you here. So we would love to have you join our social media community.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So, not that many years ago, we didn't have social media. Now we're telling you to get on social media and follow us, and yet we're actually litigating cases where our kids have been harmed by social media. But yeah, it's very important for our businesses, as any business, to reach out that way, and we do appreciate that. And again, I want to reiterate what Zaina said earlier. We do appreciate you selecting our firm, or working with our firm. There's a whole bunch of firms out there you could work with, and we're very glad and proud that you're working with us, and we are committed to treating you with the dignity and respect that you deserve. It's a tough case. I say that about any of our cases. This one, it's very personal, and there's a lot of other factors that go into this case that might not in some of those we do. So again, we thank you. We thank you for your time today. Like Catherine said, this will be posted. We will have other town halls. I can't tell you when yet, but we will continually do these as we move along. And I know we had a large number of clients with us today. So again, thank you very much. Anybody else have anything to close with? All right. Well, again, you're in very capable hands here, and we look forward to our relationship. Thanks, y'all. Bye.